Thank you for tuning in to Stories in Your Hands with Cynthia Clark, the podcast about creating the life you want, regardless of your story. This podcast is sponsored by loveinyourhands.com, the place to go to find long lasting love using the most innovative and accurate algorithm based in scientific palmistry. Tired of superficial connections? Start your free Soulmate Connection membership today at loveinyourhands.com. Now here's your host, Cynthia Clark, palm reading consultant and compatibility expert. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Cynthia Clark, and I love talking about health and fitness and weight loss. This is something that I think, with the realm of people today being, 2/3 are obese, I think is the statistics in the United States alone. And I think 1 in 3 worldwide. It's a huge number. This is such an epidemic. To find solutions to this that are easy and fun and amazing, I'm all about sharing those things. I'd like to start out with a little palm reading though, just so you can gauge how much do you overindulge. Okay, so some people are actually more prone to addictions or addictive type behavior, and overeating is one of those things. And you can actually sort of tell in your hands, regardless of what you look like on the outside, you can see it actually through your hands. So what I want everybody to do is take a look at their Venus mount, which is located here. It's your big thumb ball region of your hand. And when this section is actually really big and puffy compared to the rest of the hand, that can show overindulgence. Okay, so it should be the biggest mount in your hand, but it shouldn't be like so overly huge that it like takes over the rest of the hand. That's how you can really tell if you're overindulging. Another way to tell is to look at the lower phalanges of your fingers. Okay, so the sections here that are next to the palm, if those sections are also big and puffy, that's an indication that you're a really sensual person and you're actually too strong in maybe like your lower chakras. So again, it can be a sign of overindulging or just not, we want to see balance in the hands. So just take a look at your hands and see how do you stack up? And so that can tell you if you're actually overindulging or not. So kind of interesting. But yeah, so today I'm excited. We are introducing a really special guest who I've known for years. And his name is Justin Meegan Man Anderson. He has owned and operated Meegan of Salt Lake / the Meegan Wellness Center for nearly 13 years. He loves his family, fitness, nutrition, disc golf, and anything outdoor related. Definitely right up my alley. His business offers exciting efficiency health training lifestyle concepts called A New Approach. With his method, Justin is teaching his clients how to spend 1 hour with him, which ends up replacing 2.5 hours beating your head against the wall in a traditional gym setting. 40 minutes of that hour is spent with Justin taking a nap on an amazing therapeutic table. And remember that this is more than a massage. It's actually a new approach to a healthy and efficient lifestyle. So welcome, Justin, to the show.
Thanks, Cynthia. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's so great. And like I said, you and I have known each other for years. Right. And it's, I really feel strongly about everything that you represent is just so good for everybody to be aware of, because it's not just a one-day kind of thing. It's a totally new way to actually look at your life and look at how you can change your life for the better, right. Which is what I'm all about. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you just got started in this journey? Like what happened with you?
Sure. Well, prior to this business, I was an insurance agent and gained a lot of weight, ballooned up over 220 pounds, basically in my car going out and visiting people in their homes all over the state of Utah. So my diet started, changing to just whatever I could find between here and the client's house. It'd just be fast food, and it was also at a time that my wife Karen was pregnant with our daughter Sky, so she was gaining weight through the pregnancy, and I gained a lot of sympathy weight. Moved from insurance into real estate. Struggle after Sky was born. We struggled for 3 years trying to get rid of this weight that we had put on during the pregnancy, and became even vegetarians, and started going into raw food stuff. We're working out over an hour a day. If you get to the end of the week, we were working out 7 to 10 hours a week, and we're just not getting results. Later on, we figured out that even though we were vegetarian, we were overdosing on things like soys and other things that were still inflammatory to our body. So even though we put in tons of effort, tons of exercise, watched everything we ate, we just could not lose the weight. It wasn't until my sister, Gina, this is a funny story. Basically, she tried to get me to experience one of our flagships in the New Approach lifestyle, and that's the Meegan Therapeutic Massage Table, which you've had for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you've been a client of ours for years, and I've been a client of yours. But anyway, she had to lie to me. She told me about this bed that I thought sounded just like a magic woo-woo something that didn't make sense to me. It's basically, as you mentioned in the intro, you can take a nap on this therapeutic table that got FDA approved for arthritis, years ago, 12, 15 years ago. You can take a nap on this table, and 40 minutes on this table is similar to you jogging an hour. I didn't know that until I got there and experienced it the first time, but I was way too busy in real estate to have time to go lay on this 40-minute, table that didn't make sense when she first described it to me. So what did she do? March 4th of 2007, 12:30 on my birthday, 12:30 lunchtime rolls around. She says, "Hey, let me take my little brother to lunch for his birthday. Can you meet me at this address?" And I worked right around the corner at the Remax real estate office. And I'm like, "Gina, I don't remember a restaurant at this address that you're telling me. I know of a Harley Davidson motorcycle shop over there, but I don't know of any restaurant over there. What's it called?" And she says, "I forgot the name. It's new. Just meet me over there." So I do, and I get there and learn that it's this table that I didn't have time for 2 or 3 times, and she invited me to come before. So I reluctantly learned about what the table was, laid on the table, but within seconds of hitting that run button, I could feel that there was something of value here, something was going on. After getting off the table, within 10 or 15 minutes, I felt an experience like I had jogged. Felt like there was a little bit of, wow, I just laid there for 40 minutes, but I'm experiencing what I would feel like after jogging an hour. And after learning a little bit more about the table and researching and asking questions with the woman running the store, she said, "Oh yeah, to burn 600 calories, taking a nap on this table is quite routine." And I could feel it. It was undeniable. And so this was something I was not looking for, but absolutely hooked me. Basically bought a bed after one table. Back then, the tables ran for $3,700 and didn't necessarily have that money burning a hole in my pocket, but I rewound the last 3 years of my life with Karen and I, and like I said, we were an hour a day plus of exercise. We were juicing 7 to 10 different fruits and vegetables every day that we learned about that were alkalizing things. We're spending 2 hours a day juicing. We were spending an hour plus a day exercising. But I look in the mirror and I'm just not a walking billboard of health. So I rewind the last 3 years of my life, and I I think, you know what, this really sounds too good to be true. Let me take a table home. I basically sold myself on a table saying, you know what, for 10 bucks a day for a year, I would then own this table, $3,700, you know. And now Karen and I could both lay on this table every day and get this experience of jogging an hour. And so I'm buying a table after one session, and the woman running the store was inclined to bring up, hey, you might be interested in knowing that this business is for sale. And lo and behold, that morning, you know, this is now 3 years later after Sky was born, and Karen was an at-home mom for those 3 years, and started having conversations with me about, you know what, I think I want to get a part-time job. I want a little bit of adult interaction. And so I immediately thought, you know what, this is a way that my wife, my sister, and I could go into business together. I'm going to go home and talk to Karen about getting into this business. So remember, I didn't even want to go there in the first place. Now I'm buying a table, and now I'm going home to have a conversation with Karen about, hey, I think we should refinance our house. And you know, it was back when the market was really high 13 years ago. It was going through a boom. I think we should refinance the house and look into getting into this business. And a month later, we did that, and here we are almost 13 years later. So that started the journey.
And how long did it take you to drop your weight? So tell me a little bit about that part.
Yeah, so Karen and I both were over 220 pounds after Sky was born. And after 3 years, Karen lost, I believe, 20 pounds. And I lost about 15, 20 pounds as well. Actually, no, Karen lost 30 and I lost 20. Doing what I described, you know, with all the diet change already. I learned about a mini trampoline, which is also crucial, very crucial in part of the new approach lifestyle. So we were jumping an hour a day on this mini trampoline for a few years. But anyway, now we add this Meegan Table into the mix. We don't change other things. It's the only thing we change. So 3 years to lose 30 pounds for Karen, 20 pounds for me. And now in the next 6 months, I was still 1 foot in real estate and 1 foot in the business. So all that exercise time, that hour a day, had to go away. And as a matter of fact, moving into the new business, there were some heavy pieces of furniture, like me and this bodybuilder guy. I didn't really have help for certain things. And what had developed in the very beginning of the business is me and this really big guy that I'm thankful that he helped me, but just two of us lifting something that we had no business lifting on our own, and I developed a hernia.
Those are awful.
That should have had a surgery as far as, you know, the doctor I went and saw was concerned. And that did hang around for a little while, but point is between the hernia and me 1 foot in real estate and 1 foot in building this new business, that 7 to 10 hours of exercise a week was lucky to, you know, find 1 hour. So immediately cut that down to about 1/10 of what I'd been doing the prior 3 years. So we were already vegetarian. We were working out 7 to 10 hours a week. Now I'm busy with real estate and building this new business, developed this hernia. And now, instead of that hour a day on the mini trampoline, which, by the way, an hour on a mini trampoline is overtraining. I'm going to teach you that 10 minutes is now all you need to do, 10 minutes at a time, which replaces a half hour of jogging, by the way. And so in 6 months, we lose more weight than the prior 3 years. So altogether, Karen was 75 pounds of weight loss, and 45 of that came from the Meegan Table. And I ended up being 60 pounds of weight loss. The last 40 melted off like we were cheating, taking a nap on this Meegan Table. Matter of fact, after that 6 months, you know, this is just what we chose to do. But I kind of almost was withering away to being too light. And we added it back in a bunch more calories and some meats. We had to add back in some meats to add back on some healthy weight. So with the techniques that we were using, it was that we were so efficient in weight loss that we had to then kind of look at it and reevaluate and say, you know, there's a balance. So it sounds, and here we are, you know, 12, almost 13 years later, practicing what we preach, and heading into our mid 40s, into our 50s, feel like we can continue to get even in better shape. We're in the best shapes of our lives and have maintained this and continue to improve, but there's no limit. The sky's the limit. We can head into our 50s, even 60s, and be in better shape than we are today.
Wow, that's so exciting. And so let's talk a little bit about the table itself, because I think a lot of people, could be intrigued about how does it work? I mean, people think about going and getting a massage, as an example, like, oh, I can go get a massage and that's good for me, but I'm not losing weight from a massage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how is this different?
Yeah, this is amazing. So remember, the table is called a Meegan Table. And Meegan is a Korean word that means beautiful health. So this table is over 20 years old, and it does come from Korea. And so what we're going to do is take Eastern medicine and Western medicine ideas and combine them into one idea. And so what we're saying is I'm going to teach you how we're going to take ideas like acupuncture, acupressure, massage, chiropractic, and heat therapy. So 5 modalities, and roll it all into one treatment, one 40-minute treatment. And the last 13 years, we've had all of these practitioners that I've just mentioned grab these tables and put them right into their practice. So I want to be the first one to say that the table would never replace any practitioner. Matter of fact, it's a tool for the practitioner's tool belt, or even for the end user's tool belt, to help get where they want to go quicker and stay there longer. So when you go to this family doctor here in Alpine, Utah, that bought a bunch of tables, 4 tables to put into her practice, part of your doctor's visit is to lay on the Meegan table. Same with, like I said, chiropractors, massage therapists, physical therapists, acupuncturists, pressurists. All of these practitioners have recognized that, hey, this is something that they can use to incorporate. And even a massage therapist will say, hey, let's use this table as a warm-up so that the therapist can save their strength and tools, let the bed warm up those tissues, and then allow the therapist to get to the things that really matter. And so what's happening, let me grab some of these jade stone fingertips. Probably the most important part of the Meegan table is these jade stone fingertips. Jade is a semi-precious stone that in Eastern medicine has a lot of healing properties associated with it, but for time and just efficiency, we want to know that this jade stone is the best conductor of a medical grade heat that we get from the sun every day. We've experienced this every day of our life, called far infrared heat. You've heard of far infrared heat before.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got your table.
Yes, exactly. And it feels so good. It's so comfortable. And you can do different temperatures.
Right.
So yeah, if it's too hot or if you want it hotter, you can adjust the temperature. So I like that feature.
Right. So we want to take a concept of crawl, then walk, then, run, and then, eventually get to sprinting. But since this jade stone is the best conductor of far infrared heat, we're going to get about 3 inches of penetration into the body. So that's how we're going to create an idea of acupuncture with heated stones instead of a heated needle. Like I said, the same culture that invented acupuncture invented this table. And so just a little brief idea on far infrared. Think of the heat and energy you feel when you go out and stand in the sun is the far infrared heat, opposite of what you see. So far infrared's on one end of the light spectrum, UV rays is on the other end. So where UV rays causes sun damage to the skin, age spots and wrinkles, far infrared revives those things, helps get rid of age spots, wrinkles, stretch marks. My sister Gina got rid of all the varicose veins in the backside of her calves over some time. There's going to be massage all the way up and down the backside of your body. So it didn't happen overnight, but within 6 months or a year's time, all of a sudden she has no more varicose veins. And so all of these are side effects of laying on the bed. All that extra skin and excess loose skin that Karen and I had basically tightened right back up. And you would not be able to tell that we both were over 220 pounds, years ago. And so does this make sense? Obviously, is what I'm talking about.
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
You've experienced the bed for years.
Yes, but for people who've never experienced it, I love your explanation because, we don't always think about, heat and how it works. And so, I like how you describe it. Because,
Okay.
I've obviously been in a tanning bed, which
Right.
is completely different.
Yeah.
And it's not really healthy, and I don't do that anymore.
Right.
But
So the tanning bed and, the sun has both the far infrared and the UV. So again, we want to think of the UV rays as not necessarily good. It's actually, harmful to the skin. But the far infrared, what we want to think about, the way I like to call or describe far infrared is that it's the ray of life. Without that heat, we wouldn't have life on the planet Earth. We wouldn't be talking to each other on this podcast right now.
mm-hmm.
So the same thing that, the lizard's going to go sit on the rock and warm itself up is the same thing that we've absorbed every day. And again, like I said, I like to call it the ray of life. So where Western medicine comes in with this table is NASA figured out how to recreate this far infrared, I think 40 some odd years ago, and put a special sauna in the space shuttle. And the astronauts sit in this sauna to help get a stimulation of circulation. And it's kind of like a workout effect. But sitting in one of these saunas is kind of similar to standing out in the sun. It's kind of on the surface heat. With some time, we might get some penetration into the body. But coming back to this therapeutic table, the Meegan table, remember the jade stone being the best conductor of the far infrared heat. That's how we're going to create that first concept of acupuncture, nearly 3 inches of penetration. So the way this translates into weight loss is now incorporating a couple other ideas. And so our body weight resting on these stones is going to create the other idea that we've talked about called acupressure. And I don't know a lot about acupuncture and acupressure. I just know enough to, I'm not an expert in either one of those things.
Well, I could talk a little bit about it because I've studied Qigong for 20 years, and I call Qigong acupuncture without the needles. So acupuncture, basically how I explain it to people is that when you puncture the point on the body, what it's doing is it's opening up your meridian channel. So you have these, so most people have heard of like the chakras. Okay, those are like the energy centers that spin, that go up your spine. But there's also meridian channels, and they actually run through the body and they correspond to an organ. So you've got one for the kidneys, one for the liver, one for the spleen. You've got one for all the major organs of your body. So when an acupuncturist works on your body, what they're doing is they are opening up a meridian channel in order for you to have healing and balancing. So that's how I look at acupuncture. So anything that can stimulate acupuncture, and Qigong is one way, which is doing movements with your body. Another way would be to get on this Meegan table, and it'll open it for you. And when you do that, your body naturally heals itself. And that's how Eastern medicine works. Your body naturally wants to heal and wants to do what's balanced. But if it's clogged or blocked, you can think of it like a toilet that's clogged. It's like, okay, it's not flushing. My body can't flush. So it's like, okay, how do I get it to flow again? And this is why acupuncture can be so effective. And I've used acupuncture personally for whiplash, and it cured my whiplash in 20 minutes. Like, I don't know
Wow.
what else can do that.
Yeah, I actually had acupuncture Saturday, just a few days
Yeah.
ago. Well, almost a week ago.
Yeah. So it's amazing, right?
Right. Yeah. Again, another tool for your belt. Nothing replaces, everything has its place. And we want to have a marriage of your nutrition, your fitness, these technologies that we're talking about, your practitioners. So thank you for, describing that in a way that will make, sense to our listeners, our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to acknowledge these acupressure and puncture points. But for my explanation, for me and how I help teach my clients is we want to acknowledge that they're there, but now let's compare this to something that makes sense to everybody right now. So in Eastern medicine, I do know you talked about the meridians. So on either side of the spine, they're called bladder meridians, or we'll call them acupressure and puncture points. And the Meegan table is spaced perfectly to line right over those bladder meridians, all the way up and down either side of our spine. So the same place that we have these pressure and puncture points, we have two big blood vessels running down either side of the spine. And so what makes sense to most people is when I compare this idea, and this will translate into weight loss, to kinking a garden hose. If we're in your backyard watering a bush, watering the lawn with our garden hose, if we kink that hose, it's going to build up pressure, right?
Right.
And then if I aim that hose at you and you're 20 or 30 feet away, and if I unkink that hose, I can spray you 20 or 30 feet away, right?
Yes, for sure.
We've got water pressure going on. So most people have had a water fight and, sprayed something off of their driveway or whatever. And so they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense right now. And so now let's say where we have those two, all those major acupressure and puncture points, I called them, hoses. Well, they're really not hoses in our body. They're two big blood vessels carrying blood flow. They're not carrying water, they're carrying blood flow. So to put this, how this applies to our clients is, okay, the movement of these stones, they're going to follow a track of peaks and valleys, following the natural curvature of the spine all the way up and down the backside of their body. And we'll have a link to my YouTube channel. It's YouTube/Meegan Man. So you can always find me under Meegan Man. That just translates into beautiful health man. It's something I've had with me for years. But there's a video on my YouTube channel called The Meegan Bed Explanation by Justin Meegan Man Anderson. And about, a minute 50 into that video, it's only a little 5-minute video. And I think this was recorded about 6 years ago. But a couple of minutes in, you're going to see an animation of this bed and what it looks like inside and kind of where it lines up over these acupressure and puncture points. And as it's following this natural curvature of the spine, how we're going to take each vertebrae one by one and unlocking pinched nerves and compactions. That 2 to 3 inches of heat is going to surround the spine and melt the tight muscles, ligaments, and tendons that would normally pull us out of alignment. But now let's put this together. So, with padding and kind of rolling out the red carpet with education and training, we're going to teach you that, hey, you want to feel like you're so comfortable you can take a nap on this table. And so the massage part, you want to feel like you're so comfortable you can take a nap. It's going to be head to toe. It's going to be going back through the legs, behind the knees, head to toe on the back side of the body. So then those stones are lining up over the two big blood vessels on either side of the spine. So again, the movement feels good. That's the massage. You want to feel like you can take a nap. Every so often, it's going to pick us up and off the mattress and stop on one of these pressure points. So now our body weight resting on these stones is going to cause a temporary kink in our blood flow, kind of like the hose we talked about. So that's the acupressure, right? Mm-hmm. Well, remember, the same time, in the same place, we're going to have that 2 to 3 inches of heat coming through. The acupuncture, so that's going to expand and dilate the vessels and excite the blood. So when the table does release and let us back down, with the heat amplifying this idea, that's like we're unkinking the hose. And what this translates to is When we stop and start the blood flow like this with the heat amplifying the idea, we're going to help dissolve fats, toxins, bruising, swelling, junk that's stored in the soft tissues of our body that's doing us no good and accumulating over the years. We're going to help stimulate the lymphatic system. We're going to dump all this junk back into the bloodstream. And through a process called thermogenesis, I think is the proper term, when you exercise and raise your body temperature through traditional exercise, this is how you melt that junk back into your bloodstream by, basically exerting yourself. And like we said, jogging an hour, you're gonna create this similar idea that I've just described by taking a nap on this table for 40 minutes. And so Karen and I's weight loss is a side effect of, number one, let's dissolve all this stuff that was hanging on to the soft tissues of our body. And then two other ideas are that on the front of the table, you get a whole pile of these stones that you get to decide where they go. There's a 15 stone head and a 2 stone head. And so the 2 stone, we balanced our thyroid. We put it right here on the front of the neck. And for most people, that means boost metabolism. And then the big 15 stone we'll place on our abdomen, and that helps us cleanse the liver, kidney, and help digest food. If we are still eating meats, I think beef takes 4 or 5 days to digest. And when people first hear that blows you away, that, wow, I've got something stagnating, hanging around in my stomach for 4 or 5 days because it's so hard to digest. Well, not anymore. Not with a whole bunch of blood flow, acupressure, acupuncture, bringing the chi to that digestive system. We're going to be able to grab that nutrition out of that food now, build the body up now, but just as important, move that waste out now. Don't let it take 4 or 5 days to digest. So really the weight loss is a side effect of one of my primary things that I'll say over and over and over to our clients is that at the end of the day, the Meegan Table is saying, let's absorb nutrition far more efficiently, but just as important, let's move waste out more efficiently. And a side effect of that is all those things. Maybe I didn't say, but clinically proven, the table, Irvine Medical School of California, documented in medical journals to lower blood pressure and cholesterol and blood sugar. That FDA approval for arthritis, like I said, is from years ago. So you want to think of anything pain-related, fibromyalgia, lupus, arthritis, new injury, old injury. And then that weight loss is also a side effect of everything we've just described.
So should people use the bed every single day? Is that the best benefit that they get? Or is it okay to do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks? Like, what is the recommended amount?
I love that question. So if you jog an hour once a week, you're going to get a certain result. But if you jog an hour every day, you're going to get a much different result. Now, you can overdo everything. So you cannot just lay on the bed and do one massage after another. Like I said, the 40-minute massage, there's 8 different programs on the table, and the P1 is the Cadillac. It feels great and moves all this junk out of your body at the same time. And so the rule is that we need to space the massages out by 4 hours. If we don't get off the table, hydrate, and start flushing that first batch of toxins that we've dissolved into the bloodstream, it's really when we hydrate and flush that junk that we've dissolved into the bloodstream through the digestive system. It's actually when we go to the bathroom that these impurities or this sludge or whatever we want to call it is going to leave the body when we go to the bathroom, when we eliminate. And so going to the bathroom is actually the ultimate celebration here. So the more we are hydrated before and after the table, the more we're going to move out. And you get 2 to 3 days of cleansing off of one massage. And so if you are doing a massage every day or every other day or every third day, that next massage is picking back up where the first massage left off. So as long as we're spacing them out by 4 hours, you could do 2 or 3 massages a day, and that would be for someone who is obese or has a lot of weight loss or has a serious health condition going on that 1 massage a day for me, 1 massage a day has always been great. And if I don't get 3 or 4 massages a week, I feel like I'm letting myself down. So for the last 13 years, I'm somewhere between 3 to 7 massages a week.
Okay, very cool. So why don't you tell us, Justin, how do people get a bed from you, and just how do people work with you if they want to work with you one-on-one?
Yeah, it's really important to, you've learned about it through us here. And if you're not going to get the results that, if you just go grab the table from our corporate headquarters is in North Carolina. And like I said, we've been a sub dealer for 13 years. And so if you want to, basically you get what I'm describing through education and knowledge and training. And so you can get the table from me. I mean, you can find me on YouTube, the YouTube channel. You can get a hold of me with my email address, meeganjustin@gmail.com. Call me, 801-573-2691. Like I said, we have changed. The name of my business is A New Approach. So I'm currently building that website. That'll be up and going here shortly. And you can get a hold of us on www.anewaapproach.com. That's probably coming sooner than later.
Okay.
So just get a hold of me directly, and
Terrific.
we'll drop ship a bed right to your house.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Justin. This has been a really interesting conversation. I love learning about different ways people can be healthier, and losing weight is definitely like one of the top things I think people struggle with. So it sounds like a great opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and remember, this is more than a massage. It's a new approach to a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. And everybody, remember that you can live the life you want regardless of your story. And we'll catch you again really soon. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to Stories in Your Hands. Please rate, review, and subscribe to show your support. This podcast is sponsored by loveinyourhands.com, the place to find the secret ingredients to your soulmate. Start your free Soulmate Connection membership today using the most innovative and accurate algorithm to match you to potential long-lasting love, all at loveinyourhands.com.